Right now, the big issue that everybody's been talking about this week has, of course, nationally, has been the hurricanes, the president's trip to Puerto Rico. But what an awful week it was with the shooting. And also, as fast as our news cycle is, wouldn't you expect that? I think Chris Wallace was on Kilmeade yesterday.
He was.
And said normally a story like this, we probably wouldn't even get into all that much on Sunday because it would have blown over. But the fact that we know so little about this guy, and all of these conspiracy theories are popping up about what happened in Vegas, he anticipates it's going to be a big story on Sunday morning. A full week after what actually happened. So the other issue is, of course, the Russian collusion story, and nobody's talking about that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, will they dedicate as much time to figuring out what his motivation was as they will to whether or not there was Russian collusion?
Jessica Jackson Sloan is a Fox newscaster here, political analyst, and is on the air with us right now. What do you think, Jessica? This Vegas story is making its way through the weekend because we don't know anything, right? So thus, no one's talking about Russia.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me on. I think the shooting story is going to be around for a while. This is the biggest shooting we've ever had, and it's also, a huge, huge tragedy. Everywhere I go, people are telling me about connections they had to somebody whose life was lost there or to somebody who suffered a loss there. So, this is going to be around for a while, and I think particularly because his motivations are so unclear that it makes it even scarier in some ways, because it's almost as though he just, out of nowhere, there was almost no signs, decided to do something so horrific.
Yeah. And they say they found a note. This was new this morning or last night, that they've released the fact that they found a note, and the only thing on the note is a bunch of numbers. Did this guy leave a mystery behind in the wake of this shooting? You kind of, it's beginning to feel that way. Like he erased his entire thumbprint on social media. He got rid of everything you could possibly to create this mystery, so we'd all be talking about him longer than any other mass murderer. I kind of wonder.
I mean, we're trying to make sense of somebody who just did something so incredibly senseless. There's going to be a lot of people trying to figure out what happened here. Why did he do this? Trying to string together clues. And the truth is, we just don't have the full picture yet. So I've seen the articles flying around about the note. I've seen other articles about, how many people were actually shooting. And there's a lot of conspiracies out there and thoughts that people are trying to come up with, some sort of answer as to why this happened. And I think the best thing to do is to talk about how to prevent this from happening in the future.
All right, I want to ask you, what is going on with Russia?
So each week we're finding out more and more about the president's deep ties to Russia. And right now, this week, I would say the biggest news story around Russia is that Jared Kushner had a private email account he didn't tell anybody about. And there's some emails from there. Of course, we don't see the president leaving any lock him up chance this time about a private email server. But it's his family, so I guess the rules are different there.
Yeah.
They're also, Facebook and Twitter have agreed to come in front of Congress and talk about some of the paid-for ads and how they were able to reach $10 million through Russian profiles that bought these ads and were pushing them out there. So a lot going on in Russia, but of course, the nation is really focused on the shooting this week.
All right, Jessica, thank you so much. Jessica Jackson Sloan through Fox News. Thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right. It's very subdued today. It's kind of a subdued week, though, right?
It is.
Kind of like that a little bit. It's been an awful week when you really, really think about it.